Hello, and welcome back to Stray Thoughts. It is great to see you. How are you doing? You look great today, audience. It's wonderful to be back. Yes, let's just jump on into it. In case you're new again, this is Stray Theatre's podcast, still in video. If you're listening to this in audio, get with the times, listen to it on video. We are here today with a wonderful guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Thank you. Yeah, sup everyone. My name is Villa. Full name Villa Lemanu. How old am I? 24. South Auckland kid. Grew up in Waimanli near Otara. I rep that proudly. That's sort of part of my identity and sort of like what stems my creative juices.
And it's also stemming the production you're here to
Yeah,
talk
exactly,
about,
for
right?
sure. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much I'm here to talk about my show or my sort of half of the double bill that I'm a part of. An hour show that's split into two. So I have 30 minutes and then another choreographer has 30 minutes. Yeah, and so there's... For those that don't know.
You want to plug the name of it? And...
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, the name is called Atali'i O Le CREZENT. That's just, which is my one, which is half Samoan and obviously crescent is English. Translated, it just means children of the crescent. And since my piece is all boys, I kind of take it as like sons of the crescent, which for me is like a cool play on words. Like there's the sun and there's the crescent and there's this thing called of change and there's symbols of change. So
yeah, and it's part of the Pacific Dance Festival.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be quite interesting. It's at Mangere Arts
Yeah,
Centre.
exactly. Yeah,
I love that place.
That's
man.
a nice place, eh?
No, I'm always saying like if it's always a big sort of debate I like to have with some of my drama friends is like what is the best theatre in Auckland? And I don't think best is hard to say, but if I'm saying for my money, you can always go to the Mangere Arts Centre and just about whatever's playing there. Any night, even if you have no idea going in, it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
so I always like seeing what's going on there.
Yeah.
And tell us about your show. What is it about?
Yeah,
it's
cool.
a dance sort of theatre hybrid, as I understand.
So exactly. It's a dance theatre show. Obviously, the parameters of what dance shows are changing constantly. So it's like, you know what I mean? Especially with this idea of abstract, people are sort of taking elements from other genres. So that's why I kind of label it as dance theatre because it's not strictly dance. But it's the idea or the sort of inspiration came from while I was in level 4. I recently moved out. Oh man, I've been staying in my house. Like I've only known South Auckland like my entire life, and it wasn't until last year that I kind of moved out officially to Sandringham. Well, I didn't really move out. I kind of just stayed with my girlfriend, and she's stayed in Sandringham, so I was renting for free. But yeah, while I was there, level 4 lockdown happened, and a lot of people in my old neighborhood in Waimanli were getting pamphlets saying there's going to be developments sort of in the area, and what that would have meant was that obviously things would have to get bust down, and stuff. It's just stuff that I felt for some reason really close to. So yeah, obviously I was real scared for what that meant for my family, and what it meant for my neighbors in the community there. And there are a lot of people that sort of have gone through that or are going through that. It was just a really sort of like slap or like scary slap in the face. That's sort of what sparked the idea for this piece. Is just like all the memories that the community or that I had in the community and in the house especially. What it made me think of, stuff that I'm scared to kind of forget, like real stupid small stuff, like you know what I mean, just like the way the house looks, just things that faded into the background sort of came to the forefront in my head. Memories, stuff that made me, you know, I used to cry, stuff that made me cry when I was a kid that I kind of laugh at now, like all of those kind of memories kind of came to the surface. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of eternalize all of that stuff while I still remember it and still have it sort of in my head. Even talking about it now, I'm just like, I'm scared to lose a lot of those memories, you know, and a lot of those memories are stored in that house.
I think it is such a compelling core to have for a piece, because at once, like, I kind of get that contradiction at the heart of it is such an intimate story,
Mm.
yet also it's a story that we see every single day in this city, but it
Yeah.
tends to be portrayed in these really cold, hard, like numbers and statistics and all this stuff about gentrification and the housing market.
Mm.
So I think it's just really nice seeing that thing that we're more often exposed to in cold, logical terms, done in such an intimate way.
Oh, yeah, thank
But
you.
what was the process then of taking that core idea and turning it into a dance show? We've not had any dance shows as such on this podcast before, so I'm really keen to get your perspective on like what is the process from idea to show.
Wow, yeah, cool. I think, and this is what's real interesting. Different choreographers come at it with a sort of different process, and so this is sort of my first official choreographic process, I'd say. But for me, I just I'm always big on like what do I want to leave the audience with, and what is it that I want to capture. So with this piece in particular, I was just like the energy of the community is what I want to kind of encapsulate, and I just stemmed all of my process from that. So a lot of it, we spent like the first week just talking about. Also, of course, like there's 5 of us in the cast. All of us are pretty much similar age range, all boys from South Auckland, so we all have similar experiences. So we spent that first week sort of just talking around memories and what South Auckland is to each other, what to ourselves, and then from that we're just like things that sort of resonated with each other. We just started. What did we do? We just started playing games. I play games a lot.
What kind of games?
Oh man, any game, man. Like sometimes I'd make up games on the spot, and then we just play like.
What's going on over there? We got some kind of disturbance in the background.
Yeah.
Carry on, man. It's all good. Don't
Yeah.
sweat it.
People trying to break in.
Yeah, probably. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's a hot ticket. The Stray Thoughts podcast. You got.
That's the one.
So yeah, so you would just play games.
Yeah, we'd play games, and then sometimes I'd like just like see something in a game and be like, whoa, that's really cool, you know, like it's hard to pinpoint because we play so many different games every day. But yeah, like there'll be moments in games that I'm like, oh, that's really nice, like that reminds me of this, let's put that in the piece, or like let's play with that a bit more. Yeah, that's just my personal process. With this work, I play a lot of games, and from the games I create tasks, and from those tasks I generate movement, or sometimes not even just movement. Sometimes it's just like a memory that would try and I don't know, like it's hard to explain. So it's that's pretty much the gist of the process though. It's like we'll play a game. From the game, I'll generate a task. From that task, I'll generate some sort of material, and then we'll just put that aside. It was only recently that we started kind of piecing things together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting because I mean, like, this is me speaking. Full disclosure, I'm an absolute moron when it comes to anything dance. I know nothing. But, I mean,
You're
like,
all good, man. Yeah, you're all good. No stress. No stress.
But I mean, to me, like, I always thought that it was something more of like, okay, we come up with an idea, we come up with like a feeling, or in this case, a memory you're talking about. And from there, we have that set in stone, and then we come up with whatever movement best expresses it. But I mean, like, the way you're sort of talking about it, I think it's more like they develop together. The core idea, the memory, the movement, it's all coming together.
My process in this work especially, and I always mention it's this work especially because each process for me is different. Each work is different. But only because... Yeah, I like generating stuff from the real. Like, I know the boys have their own memories and their own things that they can attach to. So I feel like that's more real than just me being like, yo, this is my memory. You know what I mean? Like, relive that. Whereas they have their own sort of stuff that I think is beautiful, you know? Like, the more human it is, the more beautiful it is to watch, for me personally.
Do you want to share... Is there any particular memory or experience that really, of yours, that really kind of became part of the process, maybe in a way that you didn't expect?
Ooh. Um, it's not a dumb memory, but it's one that I feel like I take for granted, and I was a real bad, not bad, but like just a real useless kid. So like
God.
no, like I'd always wake up late. Like my mom for me is like I'm a mama's boy at heart, so she would always wake us up in the morning, like me and my siblings. Always make breakfast, always do laundry. That's what I mean. I was terrible, man. Like we wouldn't do anything. She'd always do dishes. She'd always like she'd cook every meal. Should be the first one to wake up, the last one to sleep. So yeah, I feel like what we've been working with a lot is just her in the kitchen. Like, well, that's the memory that always comes to me in my head is like, yeah, I feel like for some reason that memory, like I don't want to take that for granted, you know, like just, yeah, waking up, her already making breakfast and that, and going to sleep, knowing she's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I really don't want to take that for granted.
And how do you think that kind of that memory is manifesting in the show?
I don't want to ruin too much.
No, sorry. We want to encourage people to go and see the full thing for themselves. Exactly. But like, I guess what I'm asking is like, what is the process of taking these memories, these feelings, and putting them on stage in a dance context?
Ooh. Sorry, can you say that again?
So yeah, so you've got this really like intimate show, and you've got these memories and these experiences are the core of it. What is the process whereby that memory, do you like just put it on stage? Literally, is it more of it like influences the stuff that's in there? Is its presence felt in the narrative? Is it felt in the movement and the choreography?
I feel like it's hard because, well, it's not hard. I feel like for me, it's all of it. Like I try and there's moments where each of it, there are moments in the show where it targets specific things, but I feel like the audience obviously will take whatever they take from that. For me personally, kind of doing it, it's definitely not literal. It's not super literal. We focus more on the energy of the work and the feel of the work. And some people, I feel like that's the best way to describe it, without exploiting too much.
Nah, it's all good, man. And so going down a different sort of avenue of questioning, right? So what I've been doing a bit of research in the show, sort of looking at other interviews you've done. I like to do my research, man.
Oh my man!
And I saw you talking, I think it was RNZ, about like the mix of traditional Samoan music and movement mixed in with more contemporary stuff. Do you want to talk to us a bit about that? Like, to what degree have you tried to merge the contemporary and the traditional?
Yeah, I think it's real bizarre because I never set out to, like, when I was making the work, I literally had no idea of like where it would go. I just knew this is the sort of core of what I wanted to make. And so I had no idea that there was even going to be any traditional Samoan stuff, or even like strictly contempt, even though that's sort of my stronger background in terms of dance knowledge and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just because of the nature of the work and because of the sort of memories that are kind of being brought out, a lot of it, I feel like there's quite a bit in it, which is quite cool actually to watch. And I think for me it depends on what your definition of contemporary is, and I think a lot of people have different ideas on what contemporary dance is, and for me contemporary dance is just it's just movement, like it's stripped to its core.
What do you mean by that? Contemporary dance is just movement stripped
to
its
man, because it's like contemporary dance is a cheat code for all the dancers that know, like it could be anything, like as long as it has sort of an intention behind it, it's contemporary dance. Like for example, me sitting here like this for an hour, if I had like a certain intention behind it.
Well, the interview's only 20 minutes, if you're going to sit here for an
hour. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, well, then let me maybe rephrase the question. What is contemporary dance not?
Oh, yeah, that's even harder, man. Let me try and again, it just depends. Everyone's got a different idea of what contemporary dance is. So for me, what is it not? I guess. Oh man, it's such a fine line. Just thinking about that.
Well, so okay, let me maybe rephrase it one more time.
Yeah,
So
sure.
like you're bringing in. I love it. We're like really getting into
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
a big back and forth
Oh
here.
man, this is cool, man. Yeah.
So okay, so you're bringing in like elements of the traditional stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into the contemporary dance stuff. Does that change the fact that it's still contemporary dance? Is it contemporary dance plus the traditional stuff, or is it just contemporary dance?
That's a cool. Okay, yes, and I think it's because the rules are different.
Yes.
So for
yes, it is. It is just contemporary dance still.
No, it'll be contemporary dance and traditional. And what I mean by that is like the rules behind what traditional. Traditional I'll say like Siva Samoa, because I don't want to speak. Oh, actually, yeah, I'd say even a lot of the Pacific Islands. Yeah, the intentions are different. So like a lot of what the movement generated, there's meaning, there's sort of like there's histories behind it. There's just a different intention. It's more so. Man, like our people are storytellers, so like a lot of the movement already have their own stories. Yeah, and I think just the culture of it should also be taken should also be thought about in terms of when it comes to traditional movement.
So it's kind of the intention is what separates it, because like you keep using that phrase of like contemporary dance, it's movement with an intention.
Yeah.
Whereas the more traditional stuff is movement, but with an intention that maybe it's not up to you to decide what that intention is, because it's got that culture going through.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it, I'd say.
So, I mean, then my next kind of thing that I think about, like, is this piece has a lot of what to me feels like different forces going in opposite directions in it. We've got the contemporary stuff, we've got the more cultural stuff. We've got a really intimate story, but we've got about an issue that is often looked at in very economic terms, right? We've got theatre and we've got dance, all these different forces. So how do you, as the lead creative, make sure that your piece still ends up with its own unique identity and doesn't just become kind of like a
sort of like a amalgamation of
ball of wibbly wobbly,
exactly,
arty stuff?
Well, all of it. Again, I think all of it just comes like it's. I don't see it as all different things. I think, and it's. Yeah, for me, it's just the heart. As long as I aim for the heart of what I'm trying to say, and as long as that comes across, then all of it to me is just elements of the work. Like I think. Yeah, I don't know. As long as it comes from me. Like I think that's just the thing. It sums me up. That's me in a nutshell. That's all of those things are just pieces of myself. So when it comes together, I think, I don't necessarily think it'll become wibbly wobbly. I think that'll just become that'll be part of the editing process maybe. But ultimately, it just I think that's my creative identity that'll show.
What to what degree is it a part of? So the part of you say is like the really uniting force, and I would definitely agree with that. I think that's true with basically all art. It's the personality of the artist which unites it. To what degree is this a show about you, and to what degree is it a performance about your community?
Oh yeah, big. So again, it's like I always say this. I think I've said this in every interview I've done so far. It's like I don't want to be a hero, or in any sense. Like I don't want to save anyone or people. And what I mean by that is like I don't want to, like my message isn't to like you should do this. I don't want my work to say that. Like my thing is like this is how I felt and this is what I've been dealing with. Or not necessarily dealing with, but this is my experience pretty much. And because I come from that angle, everything I say is pretty much true because this is my experience. And so I think a lot of what this is for me is a trip down memory lane, but I'm just sharing that with people. And I know within that there might be things that people will pick out and be like, oh, I resonate with that, or I may have come across something like that in my life as well. And that's sort of the angle that I'm going at this work. It's because yeah, for me it's just like if it's real to me, I'm sure it'll be real to someone else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell people what to do with this work or yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the piece is, to the best of my understanding, we could simplify it down to a piece about gentrification, about a changing community, and sort of what that feels. And what do you think is going to happen next with that stuff?
In terms of
we've talked a lot in this interview about the past and kind of the significance of your past and memories for this piece. But I'm just genuinely curious. Do you see this problem getting worse? Do you see it getting better?
It's a hard one because what's good about this piece is that it's generated a lot of convos, and like you can't, to an extent, like I can't say gentrification is a bad thing because it's obviously like change has to happen. Like change does happen, and I think it's just how we go about change as opposed to like what the change is.
Yeah,
change
is just a tool.
Exactly. So like I just know gentrification is definitely going to happen, especially where our area is. Like there's a lot of opportunities in the future for that area. So development is definitely going to come through. It's more so just about, for me, my thing is just as long as my community's okay, as long as they're all right and they're not blindsided by anything, that they're looked after really well. That's my prime concern.
I'm going to give you an opportunity here to put yourself up on a bit of a pedestal, which I know is something that Kiwis hate to do. But do you think that you're a bit of a trendsetter? Like, do you think that we're going to see more art about this kind of stuff?
Ooh, I feel like it's going to go down like another tangent, but I think not.
Do you think not?
Not me. Like I think. No, actually, that's a genuine. Like, I actually don't think people will follow me. I think people will, like, they might just be like, I appreciate that kind of work, but I don't know if people will follow me. I think obviously, like, or in the dance world, there's a certain trend, I'd say, like, in terms of what makes good dance shows. And yeah, I don't think I fit that category at all. But again, it's just like, for me, that's just who I am. Like, I know that about myself, and I know that about my work. And I try to keep my intentions pure as possible. My thing's not really about, like, I love people coming to see the show, but again, I'm trying to make my stuff for my community, especially. And yeah, for me, that's like, I'm just like an art purist, you know, like, I know, yeah. It would be cool if people did start kind of following that kind of trend of creating stuff like that. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, time will tell. I am loving this interview, but I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it. Start wrapping up now. Do you want to, last chance, camera's right there, promote, where can people get tickets?
Yeah, sure.
When's it on?
Event Finder. The double bill is on the 18th and 19th of June. Yeah, just search double bill on Event Finder. Pacific Dance Festival. There's also, I'm just gonna plug a lot of shows. So there's also the Moana Showcase. These are all under the Pacific Dance Festival umbrella. So Moana Showcases, I don't know when this will air, but today and tomorrow.
Probably a bit late, but
yeah, it's all good.
Find a review of it. I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, for sure. Faces of Nature. Shout out to the Atali'i and the jokes. Alo Atali'i and the team. That's I think on Friday and Saturday of this week, which I'm not too sure when this will release. There's also Hypermass, which is the day before Ray and myself's show. Whoa, that English is terrible. Myself and Ray's show, which is on the Thursday the 17th. So that's Hypermass. These are all just under Pacific Dance Festival. I'm sure you'll find it on Event Finder. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
And thank you, audience, for joining us today. I hope to see you next time. Have a good one.